Welcome back to the Outlet to the Brush. It's not the following day, it's still the same day. I thought I would show you the Ratling grime being painted on camera. Let's see what else we get done. So, the way I'm going to do this, first thing I'm going to do is take some Lamia medium. I prefer to use this than just water, purely because some of the contrast paints can go a bit shiny, and the Lamia medium really does help prevent it going too shiny. So I've kind of gone for almost like a 50-50 mix of the two. Take them apart, take them off space, and first thing I'm going to do is tackle one of these shoulder pads. I'm only going to do one side to start with, so that I can leave it to dry without making a mess. So I'm going to do this back edge first. So literally I'm just going to go over all the metallics with this Ratling grime, including the trim. Just try and be careful and avoid getting any onto the areas we've already done with the green. It won't be too bad because the colours are fairly close still, but I'd rather try and avoid any huge spillages. Don't mind it just in the edge of the trim, that's fine. Put too much there. Quickly into the paint. I better whip that off. Just do the bottom side of things. And try and catch this inside edge just in case that's visible. Don't have to go too far in. A little bit of a build up there, so let's try and get rid of that. So I'll leave that one dry. Same thing on the other shoulder pad. And this is literally just a case of going around, picking out the trim and all the metallic bits. So I'm trying to get as much painted as I can before 11's dropped. I'm quite excited by it. I haven't been out of play for a couple of editions, just haven't got round to it. I hadn't really had anything that I was happy filled as a full army. I've got some AdMech, but again, this is one of the slightly frustrating things. A lot of my AdMech that I had was Forge World resin, and now those Forge World resin models are no longer compatible with the current edition of 40k. I don't know. I haven't been able to find rules for the Thanatar, either versions, for the current 10th edition. I'd love to be able to find them. If anyone knows where I can find them, please comment in the comments below, because I really would love to build my trio of Thanatars at some point. Yes, I have 3. 1 resin, 2 plastic. So yeah, as I say, I'm quite hyped for the new edition. I'm digging what they're doing with the terrain. Those of you that know me, those of you that follow me on Instagram, may be aware I'm a bit of a nut for terrain. I tend to paint my terrain to the same standard that I paint my models. So my battlefield terrain does look impressive. If you'd like me to post a short video of my terrain up, not just the small pieces that I've posted so far, but some of the bigger bits. So you may have seen the Dark Elder barge that I painted for my Prince Shillithan of the White Flames on the YouTube channel. But what I haven't posted up are the large pieces of terrain. There's a red spherical Mechanicus reactor that's bigger than anything bar a Warhound Titan. And then the largest model in my collection is a converted and kit bashed the German pronunciation is a Rad Shufflebagger number 287. It's a Renault kit from a few years ago, and it's been kit bashed because it's been rescaled from, I think, 1/78th or smaller. I don't know what the scale was, I'll be honest. Don't think it was 1/38th. Might have been a lot smaller, because I had to rescale all the gantries and everything, because it's designed to be an absolutely monster of a mechanical vehicle on a landscape, just eating the landscape with its rotary bucket excavator. In the original, the bucket excavator is about 20 to 30 metres across by scale. It's now been scaled down to be 40k scale. It's got some of the Sector Mechanicus panels and stuff across it. I've taken out all the smaller stairways and stuff that would have been on it. The bucket excavator end of it has got a cab from Necromunda cargo hauler up at the front end. So it's literally been rescaled with a gantry running all the way down the side. Panels round the central section, and then another platform up by where the counterweight is. It's literally a terrain feature in itself. It's almost an entire board. And to give you some idea, it covers the area of a ramble battle tile, more or less. I think the box stated that it was 107 or something centimetres by 110 centimetres in dimensions. It's got a boom arm on it. So the darn thing itself is nearly a metre long, and when the boom arm is extended out, it would also cover almost a metre in at the 90 degrees. So it's a huge piece of terrain, more or less finished. There's a few things left on it to do. It's tabletop ready, but I could do with putting the rigging and stuff on it, which is something I've avoided doing like the plague. I think partly because I look at it and think it's not modelling, it's not hobbying, it's sewing. I don't know what the reason I haven't done it is. But yeah, it's quite a large piece of terrain. It would be the centrepiece, at least, of any table that it was put on. So, as I say, I'm literally going around putting Ratling grime in on all the metallics that we've just done. I'm using this more as a wash than as a contrast paint, but I like the colouring and the consistency of the Ratling grime. It's certainly darker than either the Nuln Oil or the Agrax Earthshade, and it's become kind of my secret sauce if I want to use an ink wash for something that I want darkened down. It seems to work brilliantly, whether or not I'm trying to do something that's metallic, black, dark brown, golds. It kind of functions quite well as the final little colour spot. So yeah, all I'm trying to do is trace over the panels, just about hit the edges, so that when I come in later, I'm probably only going to need to use, I think it's Skull Crusher Brass to finish off the metallics that are gold. Make sure I've done the interface, ankle, and then that's that bit done. Don't matter how dark that bit gets, I want to see that bit. I'm going to leave that bit drying. Shoulder pads more or less dry. I can come back in and do the other side of that. I think what I might do in just a sec is actually come back in and give the top another coat, just because I'm not happy at how dark the top is. And again, this is, I don't know if this is where the hours get spent in the refining. When you hear about people spending these immense amounts of time painting, I think a lot of them a painting with glazes. Because the thinner the coat, the less you're changing the underlying miniature with each coat. So mistakes tend to become less of an issue because you might not even be able to see what was put down. And the thinner that you put down the layers with, you can correct it by adding more to if you need to, but it's very difficult to take away once you put it down. So I personally, I wonder whether or not a lot of it is glaze work, because it's easier to correct and adjust, and that's why they're spending so many hours doing it. It's because they're literally painting with glazes. Yeah, I think that's looking better, having been darkened down. More in fitting with the Dark God of Nurgle. Looked too clean. Leave that one to dry. Done that arm. Need to come at this arm. Inside the arm. So there's that arm. Tackle the upper torso. don't know if you can see it, but some of these bits were painted prior to being put on the model. As I said already, I prefer to paint things completely sub-assembled if I can help it. There are times I'll stick a model together with some blue tack or something just to about hold it whilst it's undercoated before I switch back to taking the model apart and continue to paint it in sub-assemblies. We're starting to run out of some of this paint. Hopefully I've got enough to finish doing all of these bits. That's the front side. Most important bits, let's get done. So we've got to do this side. I think I just put my fingers in wet paint. I should have a look in just a sec. I haven't messed anything up. Yeah, I felt that. Felt that wet against my skin. That was unfortunate. Yeah, I could use a paint handle for the upper torso. As long as I don't do that and get wet paint on my fingers, I will be alright. Pardon me, folks. I think my stomach is telling me I need to go and get some food. I think we might have just enough paint. So we've got one last little detail that we haven't done or put anything on yet. And that's the trim on the upper part of the chest. I was waiting until we've got as far as the end. Try and give the bottom part of the model time to dry off a little bit. that's his body done. Is there anywhere I've missed? Yes. I haven't done the top of his inner thigh. I'm going to have to edit that. Can't have you people hearing the sound of my stomach gurgling. I'm going to have to go and get some food. Is there anything left I haven't done? I'm just going to cheat. I missed these bits earlier. I'm just going to use Ratling grime on them. I think we've got a tiny bit in the hand. Just darken up the glove. So the other thing I was going to try is put some typhus corrosion. That's the niggles, right? Hopefully this one's viable. It might be gone. No, that's dead. Do I have another pot of typhus corrosion? If not, that's going to be a problem. I think I do actually. That sounds liquid. So I'm going to get rid of the decent brush. I don't want to use anything decent. Back to the scrappy big brush. I'll put a little bit of water in the well, and then I'm going to put some more water in the well, just about to clean up with. And what I'm going to do is take a splodge I'm sorry about my stomach, folks. Take a splodge of typhus corrosion, mixed it with a little bit of water, and I'm going to put it on this blade. I've watered it down because I don't want it being too heavy, but I want to add some texture to this blade. So now that I've put some typhus corrosion on it and it's watered down, I'm going to take the wetted brush and just come away and on the raised areas try and sweep away some of, not all of, that typhus corrosion. That's probably too much there. Basically I want to try and leave the particles that are in the typhus corrosion in the recesses. So when I put some Ratling grime over it, it really will look like it's got some depth to it. I'm going to leave that to dry. I'm going to leave all of those to dry. I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'll be back in a bit. This is probably one of the last things I'm going to record today. I'm using some Incubi darkness, and what I'm going to do is just darken up the section of the base. Basically what this is going to end up being is a piece of concrete, but as we're going for a Martian theme for the base, I want a contrasting colour for the shadow colour on the concrete, so that it will really stand out once we come in and put the grey over the top. And I tend to do something like this with anything that's got like just a plain grey to it, whether or not it was a miniature or a piece of basing terrain. I'd probably change the colours depending on what I was doing. I'm using Incubi darkness for this because of the Martian theme. Green contrasts with the red. I'd quite often swap the green out for either Nagaroth Nightshade or even Baraknar Burgundy, just as a different colour for the basing on it. This is now dried, the typhus corrosion that we put on there earlier. So now I'm going to put some more Ratling grime down, this time on the head of the weapon. And that'll do. Away just so I don't get any paint splatter anywhere. So this bit was the bit that I missed earlier, and hopefully because of the typhus corrosion we put down, this will clean more so over those areas than the handle, and you'll see what I mean. The handle is just the bare straight lead belcher that was painted on there earlier. Okay, I know there's some Iron Warrior on here, which is a slightly darker shade, but with that typhus corrosion as well, it's a hell of a lot darker, which is kind of what I wanted. Making sure that's covered. Don't worry so much about the back of the blade and that. Right, those details are covered. And whilst I'm leaving the blade to dry, I'm just going to wedge it into my painting handle. My painting handle's been used for a long time. It's just bases with wine bottle corks on. Now I'm going to cheat on the wrappings on the handle. I'm going to go straight for some Vulpus Pink. Start with, come back, probably layer some Xandri dust or something over the top of it once it's dry, and then wash it with some Agrax, and that should pop quite nicely. And that could be left drying like that without a problem. Just adds a spot colour on there. I think what I am going to do is, whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm not so happy with how dark the mechanics are on the side. I think they need to be a little bit darker than what they are. So I'm just going to loosen up this Ratling grime, come back in, give some of those parts a second coat. It just enhances the grunginess. That's one of the reasons I love this colour. It's definitely, as far as I'm concerned, one of the better complements to metallic paints in Games Workshop's paint range. It has a number of colours in it. I think there's some green in it. I think there's some yellow in it. Definitely a little bit of brown. But it just makes something look oily very, very quickly. Kind of does a similar thing to what the old Devlin mud used to do. Any of those of you that have been painting that long that can remember Devlin mud, that stuff was like magic sauce. One of the reasons I want to darken these up a little bit more is so that when I do come back in and highlight them, it's not too bright. I want it to act as a contrast to the lightness of the rest of the armour. Come back to those bits that I managed to accidentally get my thumb on earlier. I'll leave that to dry. In the meantime, our base is more or less done. There's a little bit of wetness still to it still, but that ain't really a problem. What I'm looking for at the moment are my greys that I've been using. So first up, I take one of the makeup brushes, just moisten the brush, dip it into my Eshin grey, just the tip, and all I'm going to do with the makeup brush, not using it wet, not using it dry, just somewhere in between, just going to drag tip of the brush across the edges. Fortunately that's on the inside of the foot, but mistake number one. Yeah, I know I've got a little bit of green on the toe there. But again, I'm not going to panic about it because I know at the end I'm coming back in with some Martian Iron Earth. So I'm coming back in with some quite strong terracottas and the like. And I reckon that mistake there on the edge of the toe won't be visible once I put the red pigments in. So I'm not going to panic about it, just try and get a bit under the foot. Again, always handy to have a brush on standby. If you soak it quick enough, you can wipe out most mistakes. And I'm just going to keep coming back with a little bit more ash and grey. So I've got it to that stage. Now it's at that point, just make sure I've got the underside of the slab of rock. So I don't need it to be perfect. So I'm going to swap out to a smaller brush now. One with a bit more control. I'm going to go, I think it's Wargamer small dry brush from Army Painter. Again, getting the brush a bit wet. Seeing how much is on the brush by seeing what it leaves behind. And this time I'm going to start with coming in on the edges, just so I can get a feel of how much colour it's leaving. So this time I'm using Mechanica Standard Grey. I'm just going to start feathering it towards the edges. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to switch out. I'm going to go grab I don't want to use anti dust. What do I want to use? I'm going to grab some Dawnstone. It should be a next colour down in the step. It's more of a true grey. Yeah, that's lighter still. So again, same process to the edge. I'm just going to see how it looks to start with, effectively using it as an edge highlight. Seeing how it's travelling off the brush and how much paint I've got there. So now just coming around the edge, adding the top colour in. I'm probably going to put a wash, very light pale wash over the top of brown or something. I don't know yet, I haven't decided. Don't know if it needs it. And now I'm just trying to use the side of the brush as much as possible. Has still got some paint on it, it's not completely overloaded. As we've gone that light, I might go one step further. What I'm going to do, where's my other secret sauce gone? Right under my nose. I love this colour. I think it's one of the best colours in Games Workshop's paint range. Wraithbone. Just a tiny bit of that cream into that grey. Close those up, get rid of them. We ain't going to need them again. And again, repeating the process, just going for the edge to start with. I'm trying to use the side of the brush, just pick out the edge of that. Bit of relief texture in there. Check the paint on the brush. The brush has still got moisture. And now I'm just going to try and bring some of that colour towards the edge. Don't want it to start looking chalky. That'll do. So the next thing I'm going to do is paint some dry dark, if I can find some. That is gone. Oh, am I going to have to crack the bigger bottle? Come on. I don't know if they still do these. These were the old scenery basin bottles that they did, and having this quantity of any paint is kind of useful. So I've now got some dried dark, and I'm gonna go ahead and base the rest of this in dried dark, because it will make putting the Martian iron earth and that over the top of it a lot easier, and it'll actually start to make the model stand out a little bit more. It gives the other red texture paints something else underneath them, especially if I use some of the crackle paste one. Case of having it painted underneath will help. For uniformity, when I paint it black later, same colour all the way around underneath. I'll do the trim as well, and that's how it's now looking. Just check I ain't got any paint on my fingertips. So that's his torso together. I've got to go around and highlight the trims and the metallics. I can put in the cables and then work on the flesh bits. The inner section I'm going to cover in some Velpus pink at some point. I'll try and do that tomorrow morning on camera. But that's where that Death Guard Saturnine Terminator is currently. And I'll probably come back and work on the base tomorrow morning. It's almost rock hard. It's not quite there yet. So thank you for watching today's two-parter. I am the Adept of the Brush. If you've liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe, help the channel grow, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow morning with the next part.